Hi, it's Tyesha. It's only me today. We have reached the final episode of season 1 of Coils, Cash and Culture. So we've made it. My goal was to get to at least 10 episodes and then take a break and go to season 2. So this feels like a pretty pivotal milestone. I'm excited to share it with you. And I just wanted to take the time in this episode to reconnect on what we've learned, what we've discussed, and what to expect next. This season, we've had guests from the UK and the US. We've had everyone from problem solvers to builders to self-starters, dreamers, and doers. And there are 3 things across all the conversations I had that I noticed throughout. The first thing was do. Every single person on this show didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait for someone to tell them to get started. And Marvin Bowser, I think it's in episode 7, does a really good job of showing us that from going from the military to photography. Secondly, start with what you have. Rashida, who I've been fortunate enough to follow her journey, went from braiding and offering remote services to just last week opening her own store. So that's what can happen in a matter of a few years. And last but not least, thirdly, every single person I had a conversation with was in service of their client or their customer, or whoever it is that they are creating something for. And so that was super exciting because I think to see that passion and care for hair type that has long been underserved and undercatered for is super inspiring and also just super warm. It feels good. It feels good. People often ask me, what is the goal of this podcast? I've had some time to think about it. And there's 2. The first goal is to create a space dedicated to talking about the future of Black and textured hair. I'm going to reference the past. We're going to learn a bit of history as we go as well and acknowledge that. At the same time, I want to give credit to those who are paving the way today too. And the second thing is I want to move every listener. And that's you. Whether you smile, whether you think, whether you pause, whether you go and tell a friend something you learned, or maybe you're inspired or you're triggered to start thinking about something you can build. That's the goal, the second goal. Outside of the show, I've also been taking the time to read and educate and follow what's happening. And a few big things happen that I wanted to share. The first is the Texture Gap Report, which is by Cara, a consultancy expert service in the UK that can provide consumers with advice on their hair and also speak to brands about the opportunity to serve customers with specifically 4C hair and also curly and wavy hair. Secondly, Mayal Organics, they became the first textured hair care brand partner for the Women's NBA. That's huge. It's huge. And the reason it's huge is because they are still, whether we like it or not, scratching the surface of what other beauty brands have become. And so it's super exciting milestone for that team. And it shows what can happen at the intersection of hair care and so many other different industries. And last but not least, I've got to give a shout out to Rooker Hair. They released their first ever TV advert on UK national television. And what's really exciting about this is Rooker Hair is a Black woman founded company, and they have almost started to build this ecosystem of hair care products and tools that specifically cater to Black women and anyone else who has textured hair. And so that's hair extensions, it's hair tools. They've just expanded into braiding hair. And for me, growing up in the UK, I have never seen a Black founded beauty company of any kind explicitly with that many beautiful, amazing, talented representation of Black women included in that advert from the UK and beyond. That really shows how much has happened so far, but it also shows how much hasn't happened. And so I'm giving these examples to, again, remind you and also to remind myself that this is early, there is so much to do, and it's super exciting. And then outside the show, outside of what other brands and individuals are doing in the industry, I've had the pleasure of just having fun with this and helping people and making them smile. Back in the UK in May, it was a delight to give Beyonce tickets away to some locals in Tottenham and London. I had the joy of going to Philadelphia and handing out hair care packages to a group of young teenagers. I learned a lot. and I'm super excited for their future. They showed a lot of proactivity and interest in not only just the industry, but the world that they're about to enter into when they leave school. And last but not least, I connected with a designer out in Sweden called Simon Skinner. I recommend you Google him, check him out. He has redesigned, handcrafted Afro picks. And so he's got a selection. They're called Syntax. I should probably call it a collection. I recommend you check it out. And we gave some away to some folks in Brooklyn. So what's next? Oh, well, I'm going to take some rest. I'm going to re-energize. I'm going to refuel because I'm going to be back in, I'd like to say, a month or so, 2 months. You can expect to see me back this fall, bringing you season 2 of Coils, Cash and Culture. In between now and season 2, don't worry, I've got you covered. If you go to coilscashculture.com, then you can sign up to the mailing list where I'll be sending a weekly notes where I will summarize things that you might want to know about to do with the black and textured hair industry. And I'll also be sending through season 2 when it's ready. Thank you for tuning in. Stick with me.